Hey guys, this is Mysterium again, and today I'm going to teach you how to make a very cheap, or should I say inexpensive, special effects makeup piece. See that? I apologize for my terrible makeup skills, but it looks better when applied, and I did this very quickly done zombie bite type of thing. And so what's cool about this piece is that it's made completely out of Mod Podge. Who would have guessed? So the cool thing about Mod Podge is that it's not only a type of glue and sealer, but when it dries it has this very stretchy, movable texture to it. See? Durable. Doesn't become dry or crusty over time, doesn't crack, which is very important with these movable pieces. This I made a couple of weeks ago and it's still flexible. See, doesn't break, no cracking. Takes to makeup very well. So what we're gonna do is take our Mod Podge right here. You can use something similar to Mod Podge if you can't get that in your area. You can get this at Michael's, Hobby Lobby, places like that, mostly any craft stores for a pretty good price. And it doesn't take a lot. So what we're going to do is we're going to pour our Mod Podge. It comes up very slowly. And I'm using this surface because it happens to be not that sticky. It's like a hard metal. And the first thing we're going to do is make this, I'm making a similar one to the first one I made, around base. Mod Podge, when it dries, shrinks, so this will not be as thick as when it dries. Just smooth out the edges and keep most of it, the Mod Podge, towards the middle. And it doesn't have to be, you can make like scars, small things like that for your face, hands. I usually mostly for my hands. And then we're gonna let this dry because this is gonna be the first base, so we're not gonna do anything to this. We're going to let it dry flat like that. Okay, well, time skip. I already put on my second layer. You can add another layer after this if it's not thick enough, where you want it to be thicker, where you want the main design of the wound to be. Now, this third layer actually that we're going to put on is going to be the layer that we actually start adding detail into. So we're going to only a smaller amount of this time, like more controlled. I'm using a pencil that doesn't actually work anymore. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do slash marks. So what I'm doing is that I'm laying these out. It's going to be 3 slashes because I'm going simple. It's not going to look realistic, just like a cartoonish type of thing. But you can make yours more realistic how you want it. 3 thicker lines in the middle, starting in the middle and getting thinner towards the ends. And I can fix that. And then you're going to slowly like connect them towards the middle, but make it so that it's very thinned out but more thick at where the wounds are actually going to be. Down and use my finger, separating the 3 places. Making this one a bit thicker. And you see how that looks? So what we're going to do is that we're going to wait for this to dry till it's like a thin layer so you can touch it, but it won't stick to your hands. And when you do that, and when that's like that, we're going to go in with our pencil again and we're going to go through the middle, but I'll show you that when it's time. And now we'll just let this sit for a while. So the next part of the tutorial is adding the detailing to the wounds, scars, scratch, anything that you're going to do. So we're going to take the pencil or a pen, whichever one you're using, stick, just got to peel some extra stuff off there, oops. And I may have let mine sit a bit longer, so it's going to be harder to do. you should scratch through it, and it's just a thin layer, but it's still not fully dried on the inside, so it can still be formed. But cut through here. See how I let it sit too long, so it's like that. Yeah, but that's okay. And the wound up. And do it for the next 3. Tougher than the others. Yeah. Push that back into place. And then the third one. See, now that it's like this, we can open them up a bit more, pat it down on these parts. See how it looks like that? And now we're going to go in with a bit more of this, of the Mod Podge, I mean. And we're going to fill in a bit where we scratched the cuts into. That's just to strengthen in case like a hole ripped or anything. And I'm putting that with the pencil. This part is unnecessary, but I just like to do it because I help stop ripping in case it happens. And now we let that dry. Some people can stop here if you want. You can add a bit more Mod Podge if you're trying to go for a more like swollen look or more raggedy. You can keep adding around the edges. And the whole thing itself is just layering, and after the second to third layer, you just start texturizing it. So adding the cuts, the gorges, the holes, and then you just keep adding around that area, building up upon it. And when it dries, I can take this off, and it'll be a nice little prosthetic. This is a more cartoony version of the prosthetic. Actually, not too realistic, but you can still do realistic if you want. And just let that dry. I'm going to add a bit more. Patch this one. And you can do small ones, maybe a bit larger ones. And this is for like on a budget, so if you're broke as dirt like me, then this is a good idea. And the Mod Podge that I'm using, which I forgot to mention at the beginning, is non-toxic, which is important because this is going on your skin. You don't want anything bad for you. And like I showed before at the beginning of this video, this is one I've made before. I had another one which I ended up throwing away because it was the first try. It wasn't the prettiest thing, but if you want to see pictures of that one, my first try, it's on my Instagram, Mysterium. Okay, so now after that first coating of Mod Podge I put in between the scratches, I went in again and I roughed up the scratches. I like to make them look a bit more jagged, so they a little over the top, but doesn't look too bad. It'll look better once the makeup's put on. And you could use regular paint, you can use body paint. If you use body paint, it's easier to like wipe off mistakes as you're going. So like this one, I could just take a little bit of water and just wipe a lot of this off if I want to redo, because this is not the best makeup. My strong suit is sewing, but this was actually a technique I found out by mistake. Funny enough, hey, the best things come by mistake. Anyway, so once this is completely dry, and when I mean completely dry, I mean like this is completely clear. Once, for the most part, it's clear, you can go in, make a few more alterations with Mod Podge, like if something came out too smooth, or anything like that. Something to remember is that when you add more Mod Podge, you have to watch it and make sure that you constantly re-adding that detailing that you want in there, or it's going to fill in and become smooth, and it won't work as well. Or at least, I mean, it will take longer to make or like detail because it will be too dry, or it'll be thick in that area because of it. So what I mean by that, so like I added Mod Podge into here, into the holes to refill in the bottoms. But what I had to keep doing as I was going is continuously do this and touch up those edges to make them rough again, because the module would fill in. So just enough to keep the thing solid, but just watch it and continue working with it as it's drying, so it keeps that shape that you want. And because this was a tutorial one, it's not the prettiest. I would have, yeah. So thank you for watching again, and have a good day. If you have any ideas that you want me to try or do a video of, or have any questions, just comment below. I have another account, Mysterium, on Instagram. I have an account on Instagram called Mysterium, and I have an account on Cosplay Amino, the app, with the same name, Mysterium, spelled the same way as on my YouTube channel. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.